Obviously, an important milestone for Israel, the first public visit by an Israeli minister to the kingdom. We found out about it just earlier today, Jacob. Once the tourism minister had landed, should be emphasized he's there for an international event. The Saudis hosting a conference of the UN Tourism Organization. So he's there in that framework, right? And oftentimes we've seen Gulf states, Jacob, before normalization, allow Israeli dignitaries into their country. The Emiratis even allowing an Israeli mission into their country as part of hosting international forums or international organizations. The idea being that Israel is a member of these bodies, so has every right to go. That said, we have seen the Saudis in the past not necessarily allow Israeli ministers come to an event like this. So this is a first and obviously an encouraging sign from Israel's perspective. We are also expecting Israel's communications minister, Shlomo Karei, to visit the kingdom next week, along with the head of a committee in the Israeli parliament, David Bitan, also from the ruling coalition, from the Likud party, also expected to join him. So Jacob, obviously promising signs from Israel's perspective as the normalization seems to move forward. This particular visit, of course, has the caveat that it is part of an international organization and part of that international forum. So the Saudis, should they want to, can hide behind that as part of their rationale of granting the permission. But as these visits continue to increase, with two really over the course of weeks, I think it would be harder for the Saudis to hide behind that facade, even if they want to.
Right, we had sports before and now this. Let me bring in Loyal Sharif, which is joining us now from Abu Dhabi. Good evening to you, Loy. How do you see this move by Saudi Arabia?
I see it an implementation of what the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia said on Fox News. Every day we're getting closer. I think it's getting closer and closer. And as you said, this visit is followed by another visit next Monday, and it coincides with the visit of the ambassador, the non-resident ambassador to Ramallah, the Saudi ambassador, who visited who will visit the Palestinian president Mahmoud Abbas, and we'll talk about what can be offered, what can be given to the Palestinians in the coming phase. And I believe that this is an opportunity that shouldn't be missed by the Palestinians. Whether it's more controls over the West Bank or whether it's more concessions by the Israelis, we don't know the details. But what I see is that the dawn of the Abraham Accord that rised with the UAE, Bahrain, Morocco, and flourished really in the UAE. Saudi Arabia will make the same. I believe that the children of Ishmael and the children of Isaac will hug again. Jerusalem and Mecca will reconcile. Judaism and Islam will come closer, and the Middle East will live in the days of Isaiah, where he said, "Nation shall not lift up sword against nation; they shall learn war no more." I see it coming.
Well, they said amen on this. I want to ask you, Loy, it's interesting that we are seeing gestures first without any agreements yet. Does it sound interesting to you?
Yeah, it seems like it's part of getting people ready to accept seeing more Israelis, especially officials, because it's just a sign of things are moving forward. And by the way, the interview that the Crown Prince did with Fox News was absolutely full of optimism of having the Middle East more stable. And I want to tell you one thing, to be very honest, Jacob. I believe that Saudi Arabia and other countries that will follow suit in having peace with Israel will take the Emirati experience into consideration, how the Emiratis and the Israelis made progress with this peace, what are the lessons learned, and how things can move forward. But I see this visit and other visits as well, the previous visits and the next visits, as part of warming up people to get to know or to be ready to see more Israelis, officials and non-officials, in the land of the two holy mosques.
Right. Owen, back to you here in the studio. So this is going on already. And the question is there a way back?
Oh, of course. Lots of things could go wrong, Jacob. I think first on everyone's list of doomsday scenarios would obviously be some kind of escalation between Israel and the Palestinians. One can imagine God forbid, another escalation in Gaza between the Hamas and Israel, and what that would mean for relations. I do think it was really interesting what our guest said, that this is part of priming public opinion and getting people ready for the next step, getting them used to it, laying the groundwork, setting a precedent that's so important. Again, after decades, right, of hostility towards Israel in many of these countries, the Saudis changed tack in that quite a long time ago, really in the recent past, but certainly in the past over the course of the last few years. But this, having public visits by Israeli ministers, it seems from the outside goes another step towards that. And in that sense, very welcome news to Israeli ears. And certainly the euphoric vision that we've heard, of course, God willing, will come to reality, I think, from the perspective of many in Israeli society.
And we should expect more of this soon, right?
Of course. Again, Shlomo Kari, Israel's communications minister, is set to go next week. Jacob, a fun fact being reported in Israeli media, he was testing how to build a sukkah, a hut for the Israeli holiday of Sukkot happening next week. Seems like it won't happen. There isn't a balcony that would be available for him. But that, again, just shows how much things are moving fast and how things are moving forward and how quickly it seems to be happening.
All right. Thank you very much, Owen Alterman and Loai Al-Sharif in Abu Dhabi tonight. Thank you both.